I was 23 the first time it happened. The doorbell rang at 7 in the morning, which was strange because I lived alone in a studio apartment in Chicago, and nobody visited me that early. Nobody visited me at all, really. I opened the door to find a single red rose lying on my doormat. Perfect. Pristine, the kind you see in movies. No note, no card, no delivery receipt. Just a rose wrapped in simple brown paper, tied with twine. I picked it up, looked down the hallway both ways. Empty. The elevator doors were already closed. Whoever left it was gone. At first I thought it was sweet, maybe a little creepy, but mostly sweet. I figured it was Marcus, the guy I'd been seeing for a few months. He was romantic like that, or at least he tried to be. So I texted him a thank you, added a heart emoji, waited for his reply. When he called me 20 minutes later, confused and asking what I was talking about, my stomach did a small flip. He hadn't sent it. Maybe it's a secret admirer, my best friend Jordan said when I told her later that day over coffee. She wiggled her eyebrows like we were still in high school. Someone who's been watching you, waiting for the right moment. That's not romantic, Jordan, that's terrifying. She laughed. Only if they're ugly. I didn't laugh, because something about it felt off. Not dangerous exactly, just unfinished. Like the beginning of a sentence I couldn't complete. The next year it happened again. Same day, same time, same rose. I was 24, living in a different apartment across town, and somehow the rose found me. This time I was awake when the doorbell rang. I ran to the door, flung it open within seconds, but again, the hallway was empty. No footsteps, no movement, just the rose waiting like a patient ghost. I called the building manager. I checked the security footage. Nothing. The cameras had mysteriously been offline for maintenance that morning. Convenient, right? Too convenient. Marcus and I had broken up by then. I wasn't seeing anyone. I asked my parents if they'd sent it. My mom laughed and said, "Honey, I can barely remember to send you a birthday text." My dad just shrugged. By year 3, I stopped trying to figure it out. The rose became part of my birthday routine. Wake up, open the door, pick up the rose, put it in water, stare at it while drinking my coffee, wondering who out there in the world remembered me so quietly, so persistently. Some years I felt romanced by it. Other years I felt haunted. I moved 4 more times over the next decade. Different cities, different apartments. One year I was in Boston, another year Denver. It didn't matter. The rose always found me, always 7 a.m., always my birthday, always alone. I started keeping them, all of them. I'd press them between the pages of old books, preserve them like evidence of something I couldn't name. By the time I turned 32, I had 12 dried roses, each one a mystery I carried with me like a secret language only I could read. People told me it was creepy. "You need to file a report," Jordan said during one of our video calls. She was married by then, living in Seattle, pregnant with her second kid. Her life had moved forward while mine felt stuck in this strange loop of unanswered questions. A report for what? Someone sending me flowers. Someone stalking you, you mean? But that's the thing. It never felt like stalking. Stalking is aggressive, invasive. This was gentle, constant. Like someone wanted me to know I wasn't forgotten but didn't want anything in return. I met David when I was 33. He was kind, steady, the opposite of every chaotic relationship I'd stumbled through in my 20s. He worked in finance, wore sweaters on weekends, and made me feel safe in a way I didn't know I needed. When I told him about the roses, he didn't laugh or call me paranoid. He just held my hand and said, "We'll figure it out together." That year, he stayed over the night before my birthday. We were both awake when the doorbell rang at 7 a.m. This time, David jumped up first. He ran to the door, yanked it open, looked both ways down the hallway. I followed behind him, my heart hammering. The rose was there, and so was David's face, pale, confused, almost afraid. "What?" I asked. "What is it?" He bent down, picked up the rose, and this time there was something else. A small card, folded in half, tucked beneath the twine. In all the years, there had never been a card. David handed it to me without a word. My hand shook as I opened it. The handwriting was shaky, old-fashioned, written in pencil. It said, "I'm sorry I couldn't stay, but I stayed as long as I could." I read it 3 times. 4. The words didn't make sense, or maybe they made too much sense and my brain was refusing to accept it. "Who is this from?" David asked, his voice tight. "I don't know." But that was a lie. Because somewhere deep inside me, beneath all the years of wondering, I think I'd always known. I just didn't want to believe it. I pulled out my phone and called my mom. It was early, but she picked up on the second ring. "Happy birthday, sweetheart." "Mom," I said, my voice cracking, "I need to ask you something, and I need you to tell me the truth." There was a long pause, then quietly, "What is it?" Did he ever set up some kind of delivery service? For flowers? Before he... I couldn't finish the sentence. My dad had been gone for 15 years. He'd been unalived in a car accident 3 weeks before my 23rd birthday. 3 weeks before the first rose arrived. My mom's breath hitched. And then she started to cry. "He did, didn't he?" I whispered into the phone. My mom was crying so hard she could barely speak. I didn't know if I should tell you. He made me promise not to. I sat down on the floor, the rose still in my hand, David crouching beside me, his hand on my shoulder. The world felt like it was tilting. "Tell me everything." She took a shaky breath. 2 months before he passed, he came to me with this plan. He said he wanted to make sure you always knew he was thinking of you, even if he wasn't there. He'd been having chest pains, you know. He never told you, but he'd been to the doctor. They said his heart wasn't good. I think he knew something was coming. I pressed my palm over my mouth, trying to hold the grief inside, but it was leaking out anyway, hot and unstoppable. He prepaid for a flower delivery service, 15 years worth. He set it up so that every year on your birthday, they'd send a single red rose to whatever address you had on file. He updated it with the company every time you moved. He had them mail him reminders 6 months in advance. He kept a whole folder, honey. Addresses, dates, notes. He didn't want you to ever feel alone. 15 years. He'd planned for 15 years of my life without him. But it's been 15 years, Mom. Why did I get one this morning? She was quiet for a long moment. Because he prepaid through your 38th birthday. This is year 15. Next year, there won't be another one. The floor fell out from under me. David pulled me into his arms and I sobbed into his chest like I was 22 again, standing in a hospital hallway being told my father was gone. Except this time, I was grieving him all over again, and I was grieving the roses I'd never receive. The reminder I'd lose, the last thread connecting me to him, about to snap. I don't remember the rest of that day. I know David stayed with me. I know Jordan called. I know I sat on my couch holding that card, reading it over and over until the words blurred. I'm sorry I couldn't stay. But I stayed as long as I could. He'd stayed in the only way he could, quietly, consistently. Every year, a rose. Every year, a reminder. You are loved. You are remembered. I'm still here. I called the flower company the next day. It took 3 transfers and 2 supervisors. But eventually, I got someone who could access my dad's account. They confirmed everything my mom had said. 15 years, prepaid. The payments had come from a life insurance policy he'd set up specifically for this. For me. Is there any way to extend it? I asked, my voice desperate. I'm sorry, ma'am. The contract was very specific. 15 deliveries, no more, no less. I wanted to scream, I wanted to beg. But instead I just said thank you and hung up. That year was the hardest birthday I'd ever had. Not because I was sad about getting older, but because I knew it was coming to an end. The roses, the ritual, the last piece of my father I had left. David proposed to me 6 months later. He did it quietly, at home, with no big production. Just him, me, and a ring that had belonged to his grandmother. I can't give you more roses from your dad, he said, his eyes shining, but I can promise you that you'll never have to wonder if you're loved. Not for a single day. I said yes. Not because the roses were ending, but because I realized my dad had given me one last gift. He'd taught me what love looked like. Not loud, not flashy, just consistent, just present, just showing up, year after year, even when it's hard. We got married the following spring. Small ceremony, close friends. My mom cried through the entire thing. When it came time for the father-daughter dance, they played my dad's favorite song, and I danced with David instead. But I swear I felt my father there, in the room, in my heart, in every choice I'd made to build a life he'd be proud of. My 38th birthday came faster than I wanted it to. I woke up that morning, David beside me, and for a moment I considered not answering the door when the bell rang. If I didn't pick it up, maybe it wouldn't be real. Maybe I could pretend there'd be another one next year. But at 7 a.m., the doorbell rang. David squeezed my hand. "Do you want me to get it?" I shook my head. "No, I need to." I walked to the door slowly, like I was walking toward an ending I wasn't ready for. I opened it, and there it was, the last rose. Perfect, red, final. I picked it up, and this time there was another card. My hands were shaking so badly I almost dropped it. I unfolded it carefully, and inside, in that same shaky handwriting, were just 5 words. "I'm so proud of you." I collapsed right there in the doorway. David caught me. I cried so hard I thought I'd break apart. But I didn't. Because somewhere, in some way I couldn't explain, I felt my father holding me together. I pressed that final rose between the pages of my wedding album. 15 roses, 15 years. 15 reminders that love doesn't end just because someone is gone. People ask me sometimes if I ever figured out who sent the roses. And I smile because I did. It was someone who loved me enough to stay, even after he left. Someone who wanted me to know that some loves are so big, they transcend time, distance, even the ending. My father didn't get to see me grow up. He didn't get to walk me down the aisle. He didn't get to meet David or hold my future children. But he stayed as long as he could. And every year, on my birthday, when I look at those 15 dried roses, I remember. I was never forgotten. Not for a single moment. Not for a single year. Some goodbyes aren't really goodbyes. Some loves just find another way to stay.